Courtney Hill, 1806. Neil Courtney, an Englishman, was born in 1758. According to family tradition, he was tending sheep on a hillside in Ireland when he was impressed into service into the Royal British Navy. He swam shore from a British ship in New York Harbor and later joined the Colonial Army in the Revolutionary War. A stonecutter and farmer, he settled in Athens County in 1806 and built this house, 1 mile north of Athens. He sponsored the first road out of Athens to the north, starting at the Bingham's Horse Mill, East Bridge, and extending up Carpenter Street and Lancaster Street over Columbia Avenue and down through the woods to this site. Courtney departed this earth in 1826 and is buried in the West State Street Cemetery. 10 Terrace Drive is the oldest house in Athens and stands on the original sandstone foundation. All the bricks were made on this site. The driveway was part of the old Route 33. A trolley car ran on rails on the other side of the driveway. There are 2 Indian mounds on the hill. The home was purchased and restored in 1970 by my brother Paul and me. Today's date is August the 30th, 1997. This pathway along here on the other side of the driveway is where the trolley car ran, and this driveway was part of the old Route 33 taking you to Columbus, Ohio. The mailbox was built, about 8 years ago, 1989 maybe. Yeah, 1989. It's really a time capsule. Inside of this structure are an Athens messenger, a discarded package of cigarettes, a Coca-Cola bottle, other items. Quite honestly, I can't remember everything I did put in it. But someday someone will be tearing this structure down, and sometime in the 21st century we'll discover all the things that were in this time capsule. As I mentioned before, all the bricks to build the house were made right here on the site. The garage was not a part of the original home. It was built years later, and it's made out of concrete blocks. The past 25 years the house has been in constant repair and refinishing. Paul and I have put in approximately $100,000 in renovation and rebuilding, repair, whatever. This is a wishing well. It's actually a real well. It goes about 30 feet down in the ground. It's got a concrete door and covered by these stones and bricks, which I used to cover it when I decided we were going to use the well. It's all beautifully hand-hewn stone underneath all of this. These are those tokens, medallions, whatever you want to call them, that Used to get them at fairs and carnivals. Back in high school days in the 50s, we would always put our names on it, the year, and this particular one has Eva, Ron, Ray, and Pudge. These were classmates of mine at Athens High School. I'm walking around to the front door, which is really the back door, but it's what we use as the front door. Above the doorway is inscribed a Latin motto, Cursum Proficio, and the year the house was built, 1806. Cursum Proficio, as I said, is a Latin motto. It's a translation from the original Greek of a New Testament verse. The meaning of the original Greek in 2 Timothy 4:7 is, I complete the course, or I complete the race. Centuries later, the verse was commonly used as a motto in European doorways to welcome travelers and pilgrims to places of refuge. It was then taken up and used in homes, the simple equivalent of the modern mat announcing welcome. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the course, I have kept the faith. I'm walking up the hill toward the site of the Indian mounds. This is one of the Indian mounds right here. And the other one is right about here. Indian mounds were always built, well, not always, but usually near a creek. And the creek is on the other side of the hill, which you can't see this time of the year. Approximately right over there in the background. I'm going up to the pet cemetery. This is where our dogs are buried. The Blessed Mother. And a statue of St. Francis as a child. be watching guard over his animals and wildlife, which he loves so much. This is Brandy's little tomb marker, tombstone. Groupus lived almost 18 years. And Chad lived a good long life also, 16 and a half years. And Carney, who died shortly after Chad, he also lived 16 and a half years. Walking back down toward the pool area. The pool was put in 1973. It's over 20 years old. It's an above ground, the pool. It's 4 feet deep, but it's been a lot of enjoyment over the years. We've got a lot of use out of it. Out over the hills, that goes toward Route 50 on the other side toward Albany, Ohio. This goes more to the north, this direction, if you can see through the trees, toward the plains, and on to Route 33 toward Columbus, Ohio. Making my way on down toward the pool steps. The hill's kind of slippery and wet. It's still relatively early in the morning. A lot of dew, moisture in the air. Sun is coming out very brightly, but it's only about 65 degrees. Just wanted to come up toward the sundial here. It's I had in a previous video. It's kind of hard to read it, but it says, "Grow old along with me, the best is yet to be." I'm walking away from the pool down the steps. Forgot to mention earlier, the bricks you see all over the place in walkways like this and around other parts of the house are from all over, most of them from Athens, but I've got one I can focus in on here. This one's from Nelsonville. Having a hard time trying to balance this camcorder and talk at the same time. You can tell by my voice I've got a little bit of a summer cold. This camcorder is my niece's, Debbie's. It's an older model and it's really kind of heavy. I can't wait to get my own camcorder. You saw this earlier one. I had the water flowing from it. It's a bas-relief sculpture of Bacchus, or Bacchus, the god of wine, the god of grapes. You saw St. Francis is a young child. This I call my St. Francis as a little boy. Again, I don't have it turned on. You saw the water flowing from it in earlier pictures. It's actually a water fountain was made by an elderly man from Columbus, Ohio for us, probably 30 years ago. In 1970 I put it together, and it's probably one of my favorite features of the house. I really enjoy it, especially in the summer months, and especially when the water's flowing from it. More bricks. This one, other Athens, Trumbull, Ohio. And this corner one here is actually from Junction City. When I worked on the film Brubaker about 10 years or more ago, this is one of the bricks over there from what used to be a prison, a brick made by one of the prisoners. And it does have an inscription on it. You can't read it though. It does say Junction City Prison. And there's another one somewhere down here. If I can focus in on it, I can't seem to. This is Chief. This is one from Logan, Ohio. Another Athens block. The prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, forgiveness, that where there is discord, harmony, that where there is error, truth, that where there is doubt, faith, that where there is despair, hope, that where there is darkness, light, that where there is sadness, joy. Lord, grant that I may not so much seek to be comforted as to comfort, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is by giving that one receives, it is by forgiving that one is forgiven, it is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. Well, that's about it for today. Walking back toward the fountain. The water's running now. And I'll end today with this. Today's date, August the 30th, 1997.